Now, Mr. Adesina, in Abuja, let me come back to you. And now that we are taking it step by step, you mentioned the fact that you don't want 95%, you want 100%. In line with getting 100%, you're a lawyer. Even today, court judgments are still coming in that may end up affecting who is recognized as a candidate and who is not recognized as a candidate. There's one, for example, today from Kwara. Do you think that in itself will still impact on some of the logistics that we talked about earlier as part of the problem that led to the initial postponement?
Well, thank you very much. I do not accept the position that orders or judgments can stop the preparation by the INEC. All these cases are what we call pre-election cases. And where they get to INEC, sufficiently for them to be able to comply and accommodate what the judgment says, they go ahead and do it. If, for example, an election is coming up on Saturday, today is Tuesday, tomorrow is Wednesday, and somebody brings an order that Ambassador Ojiako should be made to replace Dele Additional in the ballot paper that had been completed, I don't see how INEC can conveniently obey that order or that judgment. But as a post-election, as a pre-election matter, even after the elections, judgment will still be coming. And if I is declared either before the election or after the election that I'm not the rightful candidate of the party, the provision of the law is there to take charge. You get my point?
I do.
There is no vacuum in it. The provision of the law is there to take charge. There can be a re-election of that particular area where a new candidate has emerged as against the candidate that actually participated in the election. Under the old electoral law, it will just be a substitution. You know, the old fellow drops out and a new person drops in and continues with the tenure if it is a legislative matter. But INEC cannot say that a judgment comes in today, a judgment comes in tomorrow, judgment comes in on Friday. How they will be able to comply with such a judgment before Saturday is practically impossible. And there's nothing anybody can do about that.
Some people have also mentioned the fact that in terms of implementation, you have sensitive materials, non-sensitive materials. That the non-sensitive materials, we are told today that, for example, the non-sensitive materials have all been deployed. But that the sensitive ones are the ones that are still in custody because today they were supposed to be audited. That's according to the INEC action plan for this week leading up to elections. So they were supposed to be audited today before now being redeployed tomorrow. Are these confidence-building measures enough to satisfy those who will be looking for loopholes in the credibility of the election, especially coming from the legal angle? You are a lawyer. You need me to repeat the question. Okay, I'll repeat it. I said non-sensitive and sensitive materials. Am I coming across to you, Mr. Adesina? Sensitive and non-sensitive materials are being deployed. All non-sensitive materials are said to have been deployed, but the sensitive ones have been held back in order for them to undergo the audit the INEC chairman promised the political parties and other stakeholders to ensure that their integrity is still intact. Now, the question is, these confidence-building measures, do you think they are enough to cover possible legal loopholes that may emerge after the elections, especially if one person or the other is able to say, well, it's because the materials were compromised that I lost?
Thank you very much. That INEC is trying to generate confidence building in the process. It's a very good development. how an election can be questioned and the grounds upon which the election can be questioned is provided by the law to be supported by the facts of what actually transpired during the election. All right? There is no amount of confidence building that INEC is doing that will stop anybody who may want to question the integrity. Whether you will succeed or not will be determined by the election tribunals and ultimately by the courts if it goes on appeal. So, what I'm saying in a nutshell is that the effort being made to give the electors confidence that there will be no tampering or that the fact of the postponement will not negatively impact substantially on the election is a good direction by INEC. But you can never stop anybody who wants to question an election from questioning the elections. Whether it will succeed or not is another thing, which will be determined by the law, the grounds for which is questioning the elections, and the facts it's able to put forward.
All right, I'll be coming to you in a second, Ambassador Ojako, and this time I want you to talk to the issue of logistics. Again, logistics, yes, logistics, because that seems to be the key to this election. But that will be after this break.